Self-doubt kills more dreams and goals than failure ever will. Learning how to manage and navigate self-doubt is crucial for small business owners and solopreneurs. If you buy into self-doubt long-term, you'll either waste untold amounts of time and energy trying to make your work perfect, or you might not ever even get started in the first place. Both of those scenarios are equally devastating to time management as well as to your personal and professional goals. I'm Amy Shield, time management and productivity coach for small business owners and solopreneurs. When somebody comes to me and says that they need help with time management, mindset issues are almost always in the mix. And for many people, self doubt is near the top of that list. So today I'm sharing 5 insights to help you learn how to manage self doubt as a small business owner or solopreneur. Insight 1: experiencing self doubt is normal. First, it's important to understand that experiencing self-doubt is totally normal. Everybody from famous celebrities to influential politicians, some of the most consequential people in the history of the human race have admitted to experiencing self-doubt. Experiencing self-doubt doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It actually means that part of your brain is just trying to do its job. See, part of your brain has 3 objectives. That's to keep you safe, to maintain the status quo, and to expend as little energy as possible. At its core, this is a survival response. So when you think about doing something where you might fail, you might disappoint someone or disappoint yourself, you might not live up to expectations, your brain starts throwing up thoughts of self-doubt to try to dissuade you from taking action. That's a totally normal process, and it's almost always totally overblown by this part of your brain, but more on that later. For now, just know that self-doubt is normal, and you don't have to buy into, you don't have to believe the self-doubting thoughts that your brain is offering you. Insight 2: choose to see self-doubt as a stop sign rather than a brick wall. Some people allow self-doubt to stop them in their tracks. I know this all too well because I did it for decades. But once I discovered that I always have a choice, everything changed for me. Those self-doubting thoughts in your head, they're not necessarily true. Often they're a fabrication or an amplification by your brain of what might happen, however remote that possibility may actually be. Just because self-doubt pops into your head doesn't mean that you have to make a decision based on it. When you allow self-doubt to stop you, you're choosing to see that self-doubt as a brick wall. You're taking a suggestion from your brain and accepting it as truth. When you choose to see self-doubt as a stop sign instead, guess what? You give yourself options. You have the opportunity there to pause, to consider those self-doubting thoughts that are bubbling up in your head, decide whether those serve you in the long term, and if they don't, you get to decide what you want to believe instead. Insight 3: you get to decide how you respond to self-doubt. Like I said earlier, there is always a choice. You don't have to allow self-doubt to stop you unless you choose to allow it to do so. As you figure out how to manage self-doubt in your own life and your business, keep this in mind. Self-doubt is a normal process in your brain. You get to decide how you respond when it arises. When your brain is offering up self-doubt, it's trying to keep you safe by keeping you exactly where you're at right now because that's kept you alive so far, right? In other words, your brain is trying to help you survive. But the thing is, your actual survival is almost never at stake. The situations where we experience self-doubt are almost never life and death situations. So you can allow self-doubt to stop you, or you can experience it and choose to move forward in spite of it. This isn't necessarily about eliminating self-doubt because your brain will probably be offering it up throughout your life because that's what part of your brain is designed to do. It's normal. Rather, it's about experiencing self-doubt, choosing how you want to think and feel about the situation, and responding and taking action from that place. Insight 4: even if things don't turn out the way you want, it's almost always survivable. The part of your brain that wants to keep you safe does an amazing job of making up all kinds of scary stories about what could happen if you take that action or you try that thing. More often than not, these stories are blown way out of proportion to what the actual consequences could be. Let's take public speaking, for instance. Some people are deathly afraid of public speaking. Their brain senses that they could experience social rejection, ridicule, self criticism, or embarrassment as a result of getting on stage with a microphone. But what's likely to happen if someone does get on stage and makes a mistake while they're speaking? Is the audience going to jeer at them, make fun of them, and start throwing tomatoes their way? Probably not. Most of the audience would probably barely even register the mistake, and they certainly wouldn't remember it afterwards unless they have some uncommon obsession or hobby about tracking other people's mistakes. If someone who's afraid of public speaking does make a mistake, maybe they'd just keep going with their speech. Maybe they'd panic and run off stage. Now, could that be embarrassing? Yes, it could totally be embarrassing. But is that embarrassment survivable? Yes, that embarrassment is totally survivable. Whatever scary stories your brain is throwing your way about a goal in your business or your life, ask yourself these two questions. Number one, how would I handle that scenario if it actually happened? And number two, what would I do to take care of myself and my loved ones to make sure that we are okay in the end, even though it might be a difficult situation or emotionally uncomfortable? Answering these two questions for yourself is like lifting up the covers on the side of the bed and showing your brain that, hey, there's no monster hiding under the bed. Even if this doesn't go my way, I can handle it. At the end of the day, we buy into self doubt because subconsciously, we don't want to experience the negative emotions that might come up if things don't go our way. But see, number one, these negative emotions, they're survivable. And number two, there's a trade off. When you buy into self doubt and you don't take action, you're trading off possibility of having to experience a negative emotion in the short term, like failure or embarrassment or feeling disappointment, for a longer term negative emotion, maybe something like regret because you didn't take action, continuing to feel helpless or stuck, resenting yourself for not taking action. So we're trading short term comfort and safety for long term growth. Insight five, ask yourself, what else could be true or possible here? As I've said, self doubt is normal, and you get to decide whether you want to buy into the self doubting thoughts that are bubbling up in your brain. An effective approach to moving through self doubt and towards self confidence is to ask yourself this question: what else could be true or possible here? For example, maybe you have a self doubting thought that I don't think I have what it takes. What else could be true or possible here? Maybe something like, it's possible that I have what it takes, or I have what it takes to give this a try, or I have what it takes to handle whatever comes up if I try, or maybe I can do this, or I'm curious to see what happens when I try this, or even if I fail, it'll be okay. These kinds of thoughts or other thoughts that might resonate with you specifically highlight what else might be possible or true for you beyond the self doubt that you're currently sitting in. How different does it feel to think to yourself, I don't have what it takes versus it's possible that I have what it takes? Can you see how different that feels just between those two thoughts, taking that tiny little tweak on that thought? The goal here is not to think away self doubt or to convince yourself that success is the only possible result. Not what we're talking about here at all. Rather, the goal is to open up mentally to what else is possible for you, including, yes, the possibility of success. People are sometimes so quick to buy into self doubt that they convince themselves of the fallacy that their failure is inevitable. If you find yourself sinking into self doubt, ask yourself, what else might be true or possible here for me? Self doubt can cripple your time management skills. It can cause you to overthink, procrastinate, overwork, or stop you from getting started in the first place. Today, I shared with you 5 insights to help you navigate and manage self doubt as a small business owner or solopreneur so that you can manage your time more effectively and ultimately get more stuff done in your business and your personal life. So, just to recap, these are the 5 insights that I shared with you today. Number 1, understand that self doubt is normal. Number 2, choose to see self doubt as a stop sign rather than a brick wall. Number 3, remember that you get to choose how you respond to self doubt. Number 4, even if things don't turn out the way you want, it's almost always survivable. And number 5, ask yourself, what else could be true or possible here? Hey, thank you so much for checking out my video. I'm Amy Shield, time management and productivity coach for small business owners and solopreneurs. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.